Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namam Vishnupadaya Prashabhashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sarati Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So what we have seen so far last week is that basically Parikshit Maharaj was regretting the act that he had performed by insulting a Brahmana, Shamik Rishi. And then he comes to know about the news that a 5-year-old Brahmana has cursed him to die within 7 days. And that immediately changed his entire life. So he immediately renounced himself from all the activities that he was performing and sat on the bank of Ganges. There he decided to fast until death. So at that time, many great sages from all over the universe, they came there to see how this Maharaj Parikshit is about to leave his body. Because they know that Srimad Bhagavatam will be recited by Sukha Maharshi to Parikshit Maharaj in this last 7 days. So they all came there and Parikshit Maharaj submitted himself. So we saw Parikshit Maharaj was humble, he was tolerant. He was tolerant in the sense that he didn't counteract the curse that he had got, and he was humble in the sense he respected all the devotees and he considered himself as a reject when all the sages came there. So in this way, he acquired the qualification to hear Krishna Katha 24 hours a day. That's why he said in the last verse that last week we saw in the 15th verse, Gayata Vishnu Gata. He said, I want to just hear Krishna Katha. That's what we saw. And then now what happens is, he says, what he needs basically, why he wants to hear Krishna Katha continuously. So he has only one wish remaining. So he says that even if I die and then I have to take birth again in this material world, I just want 3 things. He says that I want deep attachment, Ratim Prasangat Tadashrayeshu Punascha Bhuyat Bhagavat Anante. So he says that I want deep attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, attraction basically, that I never forget wherever I am, whether I be in this material. So basically, generally in this material world, people think that, when they become distressed, generally Jnana Yogis or Jnanis, what they think that, okay, this material world is full of misery, so let me get out of this. So they want moksha. So dharma, artha, kama, once this is fulfilled, then ultimately they want moksha. But pure devotees of the Lord, they don't even think about moksha. So they just want these 3 things: attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, association of devotees. These are the 2 things they actually require. And then he asks one more third thing, Maitrastu Sarvatra Namo Dvijebhya. He says, I want friendly relationship with all the living entities. So what does this mean is, I don't want even a slightest of negative feelings towards any living entities. Nor does anyone develop that kind of feelings towards me. So it is said that even when I was very new to Krishna consciousness, I joined GEV Govardhan Village. There I heard an amazing instance where the 2 devotees, very senior devotees of Maharaj, very senior devotee. I mean, they joined around 90, 92, something, 1991, something. So they were staying in GEV, both of them, and they had some kind of difference of opinion. And because of the difference of opinion, they had a huge fight, and then one person had left GB and went somewhere else. So this was seen by another devotee who was also senior, but senior in the sense he was junior to them, but according to me, for me, he was very senior. So this was actually told by me by this junior devotee of those senior devotees. So he said that they had such a fight, and one person left GV and the other person was staying in GV. The both of them had, they have never after that they didn't meet for a long time. But then suddenly, after 10 years, the devotee who left, he came back. He came back, and this junior devotee, he welcomed him and he brought him to the ashram. So immediately when this other senior devotee was staying in GV, he saw this devotee. He offered dandavat obeisances, not in the ashram, actually in the ground. Actually, they met each other in the road, actually outside the ashram, somewhere in the ground, and immediately offered full dandavat namaskar obeisances in the ground itself. And the other devotee also offered obeisances. And then they met each other, they hugged each other, and then they left. They had some sweet talks and they left. So this junior devotee, he saw the fight, and he also saw that the loving reciprocation between both these devotees. So immediately asked the other devotee who came from outside, he asked him, "Oh, you had such a big difference of opinion, you had a fight, he left, and now again, how come you develop this such a nice feeling?" It looks like as if you never had any fight before. So this devotee said, "See, if you have even one person with negative feelings, that means that you have to come back to this material world. So you should make sure that there is no one left in this world that is you don't have any negative feelings towards them." So that's what he said. So Parikshit Maharaj knew this. That's why he is saying this friendly relationship with all living entities. I should not develop any negative feelings towards anyone, because Shringi has cursed him, unnecessarily, basically. Such a heavy punishment for such a small mistake. So he's saying, I don't want any kind of negative feelings towards anyone. So these are the three things that he asked. So a devotee of the Lord, he does not want any enemy. That's why Yudhishthira Maharaj also said, Ajata Shatru. He doesn't have any enemies. That means he doesn't develop any negative feelings towards anyone. So that's the quality of a devotee. And he always wants to stay in the association of devotees. We will see this in detail after some time. So Vishnu Chakra Thakur writes that Prabhupada writes these are the three wishes of Parikshit Maharaj, but Vishnu Chakra Thakur, he says that another wish he had was Namo Dvijebhya. So he says that out of repentance, because I have offended a Brahmana, so I want to offer respects to Brahmana in the coming future. I mean, whenever I take birth again, so I want these four things. That is, one is attraction to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, association of devotees. Third is treating equally all the living entities, having friendship with all living entities, and fourth is offering respects to all the Brahmanas. So these are the four things that he asked according to Vishnu Chakra Thakur. The Prabhupada said three things. And then Maharaj Parikshit, actually, he chose the auspicious circumstances. Like it is mentioned that he placed the kusha grass facing towards east, and he himself sat facing towards north. So you may think, why such kind of things are necessary for a devotee? Devotee in any circumstances, if he thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is always auspicious. Yes, of course, that is true. But if that is the case, then why Krishna has to perform ritualistic activities when he was ruling the kingdom, when he was ruling Dwarka? So it is mentioned when Narad Muni went to Dwarka to see what Krishna is doing in 16,108 palaces, Krishna was performing all kinds of ritualistic activities in different palaces. So why is doing that? So it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, right? So whatever the seniors perform, the followers actually follow him. What is the sloka? I just forgot. So basically, so even the great souls, they follow these rituals, like, sitting on the banks of Ganges. Ganges is such an auspicious river which is emanating from the lotus feet of Krishna, and then placing sitting on a kusha grass, which is again the bodily limbs of the Lord. It is mentioned that kusha grass is nothing but bodily hairs of Varahadev. So when he came out of Garbhodaka ocean, he shook his body and his hairs fall on the ground, and that became kusha grass. So he took that kusha grass, he placed it facing towards the north, and then he's facing towards, and he himself faced towards the north, because that is very good for the person leaving this material world. So like that. So then Maharaj Parikshit, actually, he decided to fast until that, and he expressed his desire to this sages that what he wants to do. At that time, seeing this wonderful decision and seeing his demeanor, all the demigods praised him, and they started showering flowers from the top. So it is mentioned that Prabhupada mentions that demigods, actually, there are two types of living entities. One is Asur and Sur. So that is demigods and demons. So demigods, they are always in favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and demons are always against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whenever they see that some living entity, he is going to attain the supreme abode of Lord Krishna, they are very happy. So see, and they help us to go and meet Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if we if we compete with the demigods, then that creates the problem. Basically, we know that when Prithu Maharaj were performing 100 yagya, 99 yagya when he had completed, then Indra became very anxious. So if this person takes my position, what will happen? So he comes and disturbs the entire yagya. He steals the horse and all those things. We know this. So basically, what happened is, so if you want to materially prosper in this material world, then these demigods will create a lot of obstacles. But if you want to become a pure devotee and ascend to Lord's abode, then they are very helpful. So that's why Prabhupada writes that there is an invisible chain of complete cooperation between Lord demigods and the devotees of the Lord on this earth. So that means, what is this chain? And this chain is basically the yagya, the sacrifice that we perform. So whatever sacrifice we do, either in the yagya kunda, doing that yagya, that's again the invisible link between the demigods and the materialistic, the people of this material world. So like that, all types of yagya, there are different types of yagya mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So all these different types of yagyas is basically a sacrifice, and this sacrifice which leads to attaining the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that actually helps us to that actually demigod help us to achieve that goal. So that's how demigods were really praising Parikshit Maharaj. They didn't become an obstruction in the path of Parikshit Maharaj, because they knew he is not going to harm, he is not going to be an obstruction for our enjoyment in this material world. So that's why they were very happily showering flowers and assisting him to go back to Godhead. And then when Parikshit Maharaj expressed this desire to fast until death, the sages became very happy, and they said, "Sadhu, sadhu, very good. It's very good that you are performing such a wonderful act, and we want to see that you attain your goal of achieving the Supreme Personality of Godhead." So they were very much pleased to see Parikshit Maharaj performing such an austere thing, and because he's going to fast, and he's not going to sleep also. For next 7 days and 7 nights, he's continuously going to sit in one place and hear from Shuka Maharshi. So they knew all this. So that's why they were very happy. So So whenever a devotee tries to perform such activity, auspicious activity to achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then all the inauspicious matters are removed. And this itself is a great sages from all over the universe coming and meeting Parikshit Maharaj itself is a good sign, shows that they were all there to bless Parikshit Maharaj to achieve his goal. So actually Shringi's curse actually turned into a blessing. It was not a curse, it was actually a blessing. So they were very happy and they were congratulating Parikshit Maharaj for his decision. And they said that, oh Parikshit Maharaj, you are, they say that it's not at all astonishing that you give up your throne. Because you are coming from such a great lineage of Pandavas. You are eternal associate of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is befitting that you have taken such a decision to achieve the Supreme Lord. So basically in this material world, Prabhupada writes that in this material world, we are all experiencing painful things. Mainly two painful things. That is, one is separation from our beloved, and second thing is meeting with things that are unwanted. Right? So these are the things that these are the main things, because we think that this is my nirmamo. We think mama, mameti, aham mameti, this is mine, this is mine, like that. But great devotees of the Lord, they don't have these three things. Nispruha, nirmamo, nirahankara. They don't have any material desires. They don't think themselves as the proprietorship of everything in this world. And then nirahankara, they are without any false ego. So Parikshit Maharaj was in this category. Generally, the problem appears because we think this is mine, this is mine. And then we become attached to it. And once we become attached to it, then if we don't get it, then that's when the problem starts. So Parikshit Maharaj, being a pure devotee of the Lord, he had completely renounced this nirmamo, nirahankara, and he was completely desireless. So desireless means the sense without any material desire. No living entity can become desireless. So there are desires. So the desires has to be directed towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why he says, Parikshit Maharaj says, Parikshit Maharaj has a desire to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which he will mention later. So all the Rishi Muni sages were congratulating him for appreciating his desire. His desire to fast until death. And so they were saying that we wish to wait here and see how you return to spiritual abode. So as we discussed last time also, the Parikshit Maharaj was leaving this material world, and the sages have come there to see this. So one may think that, oh, what is this? Somebody is leaving. Is this an happy moment? Is a sad moment? But these people were having. These sages have come there to see how Parikshit Maharaj leaves this material world. So that's because when great devotees leave this material world, that means they are going to join Supreme Personality of Godhead in his abode. So that's the happy moment to see a jiva again rejoining with his beloved Lord. But of course, it is a sorry plight for the people of this material world, because they are going to miss such a great devotee. So that's why it's a sad moment as well as it's a happy moment for the people in this material world. So so after Parikshit Maharaj was congratulated by this great sages, the king Parikshit Maharaj says that what he wants to do in this last moment, what is his desire actually. So he says that you all have come from different universe to give me your blessings, and you are actually the representatives or the true representatives of Supreme Lord. and you're naturally inclined to do good to others. Otherwise, what is the, as he said that I am a materialistic person, I am a king, and you don't have any interest for a materialistic person, but still you have come here. It is your causeless mercy that you want to bestow your causeless mercy upon fallen souls like me. So even, the great devotees of the Lord, it was mentioned that Satam, what happened in this material world when we someone takes to the path of bhakti? What are the steps? What are the steps that this jivatma goes through? So it is mentioned that first step is satam prasanga. No, satam kripa. Satam kripa means somebody takes to path of bhakti. So who is the cause of bhakti? Is the bhakti cause of bhakti? The Lord cause of bhakti? So actually, it is mentioned that devotees are the cause of bhakti. Because devotee, satam kripa, without devotee's mercy, one cannot take. So when we go out with kantimala, tilak, so we may think that, okay, what is the benefit? When we put tilak, when we put kantimala, somebody is just seeing our tilak, seeing our kantimala, they get agyata sukriti. They may say that, oh, he's a devotee of Lord Krishna. Just recognizing that, oh, he's a devotee of Lord Krishna, and somebody may appreciate. Somebody may come to temple and say that, oh, such a beautiful darshan of the Lord. They have so nicely decorated Lord Krishna. They may not offer obeisances. They may not appreciate devotees. They may not appreciate Mahaprasad, whatever. But they just see the decoration of the Lord and they become so happy and they praise that. What happens is they immediately get the mercy of their agyata sukriti, their unknown pious credits, spiritual credits get accumulated. So that is satam kripa. So without the mercy of the devotees, it is not possible that one can start bhakti. When we go out in the street doing Harinam, people may not people may not know what is this Harinam is. But we just do Harinam and somebody may appreciate, oh, they are doing wonderfully. They are doing very so nice. Like, once I was doing some Harinam in Seattle, with the devotees with the Seattle devotees. And we were doing streets in the Harinam, and some for Westerner, husband and wife, they came in front of us and started dancing. And dancing in a very weird way, basically. So, but what Krishna sees is, okay, this person has come and he actually he didn't create any disturbance to the Harinam. He just came and he was trying to impress his girlfriend or whatever, and he started dancing. And he was dancing in a very obnoxious way. But still, Krishna sees that, oh, this person has came and he has danced in front. Let me give him some pious credit, some pious spiritual credits. So this is Satam Kripa. So devotees, just as Lord Jagannath comes out of his altar to give mercy to all the living entity, similarly, devotees of the Lord, they move around this material world to bestow their mercy upon the fallen conditioned souls. Just as Narad Muni, he went to Mrigari. Mrigari was not searching for Narad Muni. Oh, where is Narad Muni? Oh, where are the devotees of the? He was not. He was just doing his duty of killing the animals. But Narad Muni, he came out of his own accord, and when he saw that the animals are left half dead, so he was wondering who is doing this. Then he met Mrigari, and by mercy of Mrigari, by mercy of Narad Muni, this Mrigari became Valmiki Muni. So we know this story. So like that, Parishit Maharaj is saying, you are naturally inclined to do good to others. It is not that it is your goal. Spiritual, the great devotees, doing good to others is not their goal. Oh, I have become a devotee. Now my goal is to make this 50 people devotees of the Lord, or 50 people I should give some pious credits, some spiritual credits by just my going outside and showing my tilak and kantimala. Like, no, it's not that. Their nature, naturally, their nature is to give some mercy to the fallen conditioned souls. So that's what Parishit Maharaj is saying. You're naturally inclined to do good to others. That's why He says that you have come here to bestow your causeless mercy upon me. So then he asks questions. He asked to these people, to all these sages, Parikshit Maharaj asked that, what is the immediate duty of a person who is suffering in this material world? What he should do? What is the general duty? What he should do when someone is born in this material world? What is his general duty? What he should do? And second question is asked, especially for a person who is about to die. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking this question not for himself, he's actually asking for on behalf of all of us. He's saying, what should we do when we live? And what should we do when we die? How to live and how to live? So this is the basic question Parikshit Maharaj is asking. So similar, just as Arjun. So when Arjun is asking question to Lord Krishna, it is not that Arjun has these questions or Parikshit Maharaj has these questions. Basically, these devotees ask this question for the benefit of common people. It is just like an interviewer. Let's say a TV interviewer, he asks a question, he interviews a specialist like heart surgeon. A heart surgeon has been called for an interview, and this interviewer is asking certain questions. That doesn't mean that this interviewer is having these questions, and that's why he's asking. He's asking these questions on behalf of the audience, because a lot of millions of people are going to watch his interview. So he makes sure that all the questions that different people might have in their mind can be asked. On behalf of them, he is asking this question to the to the heart surgeon. So similarly, Arjuna and Parikshit Maharaj, great devotees of the Lord, they are like interviewers, and they are interviewing either the Supreme Personality of God directly, or they are interviewing some great devotees of the Lord, so that common people can get benefited out of this conversation. So Parikshit Maharaj is also asking, what is the general duty of the living entities who are born in this material world, and what is the duty of a person who is about to die? So these are the two questions that he asked. And then he says, and when he asked this question, actually what happened is, in the assembly of these great sages and rishis and other great devotees of the Lord, there were many people who were not pure devotees of the Lord. There were many sages who were like Gyanis, who were like Ashtanga yogis, or who were like Karma yogis, like that. Many different categories of people were there. So, but if they come and speak, so generally Muni means what? Muni means they have difference of opinion. So Muni is, every Muni will have different opinion from other Muni. So that's why they all could not come to a common conclusion. What should we say? What answer should we give to Parikshit Maharaj's question? So they were just discussing, and at that particular moment, so very powerful son of Vyasadeva, it is mentioned here, Tatra Bhavat Bhagavan Vyasaputro. Bhagavan. So Vyasaputro, Sukha Maharshi is mentioned as Bhagavan here. Why Bhagavan? So is he a Bhagavan? But generally Bhagavan should be used only for Lord Krishna or Vishnu. Why here Sukha Maharshi? So Prabhupada writes that Bhagavan can be sometimes used in relation with great devotees of the Lord, like Sukha Maharshi, because they are doing the activities of the Supreme Personality. What is the duty? What is the activity of Supreme Lord? What is the main duty of the Supreme Personality of God in this material world? He wants to capture all the living entities from this material world and take home back to his abode. If someone does that, he becomes as powerful as Supreme Personality of God. Sakshadharitvena samasta shastra. It is mentioned that spiritual master or great devotees of the Lord are as powerful as Supreme Personality of Godhead in all the scriptures. So Sukha Maharshi is mentioned here as Bhagavan. So when he came there, when he entered the arena where all these sages were assembled and Parikshit Maharaj was sitting, he came here without any naked, and he was surrounded by women and children, because they all thought that he is some mad person who is roaming around like this without any clothes or something like that. So these women and children, they didn't knew about the elevated position of this Sukha Maharshi. So we know in case of Jadabharat also, when he was moving around like a madman, people were throwing stones at him. People used to, even his own family members used to feed him old food and make him work like a donkey. And not just that, once he was caught by the Kali worshippers and they were about to kill him. So this is because they're not of this material world. They are just beyond this material body. That's why they're fully absorbed in the Krishna consciousness, absorbed in the thought of Lord Krishna, absorbed in meditating on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. They are just oblivious to this external circumstances. So even Dadichi Maharishi, just imagine Dadichi Maharishi, when Indra was having threats from Vritrasur, Indra, he approached Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna said that you go to Dadichi Maharishi and ask his bone, and from that bone you make your Vajra weapon, Vajra Yuddha. And Indra shamelessly went to Dadichi Maharishi, who was alive, and he was meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He just went there and said, I want your bones. Dadichi Maharishi immediately gave his bones. He didn't think, oh, how can you kill? I am alive. How can you kill my body? He didn't say that. As soon as he said, when he heard that, okay, Vishnu has told him to use my bone for making a weapon, immediately Dadichi Maharishi, he became absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Before cutting his body itself, he left that body. And Indra cut his body and took his bone and made his Vajra Yuddha. So like that, these great souls, they are not attached to this body. They are out of this body. So that's why if somebody throws stone on them or neglects them or insults them, they are not affected by that. So Sukha Maharshi, he was surrounded by these women and children, cursing him, throwing stones at him, all sorts of insults. But still, Sukha Maharshi was very composed, calm, and he entered the arena. As soon as he entered the arena, so now in the next 2-3 slokas, actually it is mentioned about the great qualities or great symptoms of Sukha Maharshi. That Sukha Maharshi was exhibiting the Mahapurush symptoms. His hands were long, his navels were very deep, he had broad chest. So like that, Mahapurush qualities were seen in Sukha Maharshi, which this ignorant children and women cannot understand. So as soon as he entered the arena of Parikshit Maharaj, all the sages got up and they gave respect to Sukha Maharshi. Even Parikshit Maharaj got up. Except for few sages like Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, who were like very superior to Sukha Maharshi. So they didn't get up. But otherwise, all the Rishi Munis, Yogis, and Parikshit Maharaj, they got up and they gave respects to Sukha Maharshi. Seeing this, that the women and children, they say, oh, this person is looking like a madman, but he is like a great personality or something like that, because all these sages are offering respect to him. So they immediately ran away. And Parikshit Maharaj gave full respect to Sukha Maharshi, offered him seat. And then Parikshit Maharaj actually then Parikshit Maharaj asked questions to, actually he actually praises Sukha Maharshi. He says that I am so fortunate that you have come to this place to give me your blessings, to give me your mercy. I have no value, but still you have come here to give me your mercy. So Maharaj Parikshit, out of his great humility, he is saying this. We have seen this. He was very humble. So basically, he's terming himself as Shatra Bandhava. Shatra Bandhava means unworthy sons of royal orders. So he was saying, I am unworthy son of Pandavas, but still you have come here to bestow your mercy. Because my great grandfathers and all these people, they used to always respect Brahmanas, but I have disrespected Brahmanas. but still you have come here to bestow causeless mercy upon me. So this is the humility with which Parishit Maharaj was speaking to Sukha Maharshi. And he says that you don't go to any householder's house and spend more time there. Even if you go there, you spend time maybe for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. The time that they milk a cow and give you a little bit of milk, only that much time you stay in any householder's house. So Sukha Maharshi used to go any householder's house. It's not just to get some milk. He used to go there to give his association and to enlighten them basically. So by the time 5-10 minutes, whatever time he used to stay there, he would enlighten them, and he would get his little bit of milk and go away. That's it. So that's the status of Sukha Maharshi, that he would never go and spend not more than 5 or 10 minutes at particular householder's house. But now Sukha Maharshi has come to this banks of Ganges in the assembly of great sages, and is going to stay there for 7 days and 7 nights, instructing Parishit Maharaj about Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's why Parishit Maharaj was very grateful, and he was very happy that Sukha Maharshi has come there. So, so he says that, Parishit Maharaj says that when great personalities like you come at any place, great sins, they just vanish. Just as when sun appears, there is no presence of darkness. Similarly, when great sages come at certain place, then immediately ignorance is destroyed, or great sins, or everything is destroyed. Pastime of Prabhupada, when he had acquired a building in Western country, people used to say that it's haunted with ghosts. So Prabhupada said, let's perform Harinam Sankirtan, all these ghosts would run away. And then Prabhupada himself, along with his disciples, he started performing Kirtan. He started moving from ground floor to first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, like that. And he actually purified that entire building. And not just that, he even purified those ghostly people. Because they also get purified by hearing Harinam Sankirtan. So like that, when pure devotees go to certain place, entire space is actually purified. So he says that you just, by your presence, the sins cannot even stand a moment there. So then actually, Parishit Maharaj, he says that by the mercy of Krishna, by the inspiration of Krishna, you have voluntarily appeared here. Because without the mercy of Krishna, you cannot come here. So Krishna has inspired you to come here and give your causeless mercy upon me. So actually it is, as we mentioned, that spiritual master is actually a representative of the Supreme Lord. Saksha Daritvena Samasta Shastre Uktasthata Bhav Yatayeva Sadbi Kintu Prabhorya Priya Evatasya Vande Guru Sri Charnaravindam. Because a spiritual master or representative of Supreme Lords are so dear to the Lord, they are as good as Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if someone receives a bona fide spiritual master, that is actually the mercy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Sukha Maharshi, being an authorized spiritual master, he has been inspired by the Supreme Lord, because Sukha Maharshi just moves around this material world and delivering many fallen conditioned souls. Why he has to come to this place where Parishit Maharaj has decided to fast until then? So it is actually the inspiration, because Paramatma is sitting within Parishit Maharaj, Paramatma is sitting within Sukha Maharshi, and there is a there is a when the intense desire of Parishit Maharaj that he wants to hear about the Supreme Lord, that is developed, that strikes a chord with the Paramatma within the Sukha Maharshi, and Sukha Maharshi comes there to recite Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada writes that as soon as a true representative of the Lord is met by a devotee of the Lord, the devotee is assured a guarantee for going back to Godhead just after leaving the present body. But all this depends on the sincerity of the devotee himself. So we should become very sincere. sincere within the heart to approach a bona fide spiritual master. Sincerity, and this sincerity, how it comes? Ahaituki apratihata. How the sincerity is judged? So, Suta Maharshi, in his answer to the question of Shaunakadi Rishis, he gives that Ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So basically, our bhakti should be ahaituki apratihata. Ahaituki means without any material motives, and apratihata means continuous, consistent. So these two things actually decide the sincerity of a devotee. So Parikshit Maharaj was very sincere. That's why Sukha Maharshi had appeared there, and he came. He himself appeared there to bestow his causeless mercy. So the conclusion is that to get the assistance and help of a bona fide spiritual master means to receive the direct help of the Supreme Lord himself. So, so like this, Parikshit Maharaj is so fortunate that Sukha Maharshi and all the great sages have appeared there, Vyasadeva, Narad Muni, to prepare him for the ultimate examination, that is death. Then Parikshit Maharaj actually, after praising Sukha Maharshi and the Supreme Lord for being so merciful upon him, he asked these questions. He says, Yat shrotavyam ato japyam, yat kartavyam nirviprabho, smartavyam bhajaniyam va bruhi yat va viparyayam. He says, what should a person hear? What should he chant? What should he remember? And whom should he worship? According to you. And exactly, viparyayam, what he should not do, what he should not chant, what he should not hear, what he should not remember, and whom he should not worship. So please explain these to me in detail. So basically, see, Shrotavyam. So now Parikshit Maharaj has decided to sit on the banks of Ganges and hear from Sukha Maharshi. So he is very eager. He knows what he should hear. He knew what he should hear, chant, and do all these things. But he wants to confirm that from the authoritative souls like Sukha Maharshi, and also educate all of us what should we do throughout our life, and especially at the time of death. And at the time of death means it's not going to come automatically. Okay, at the time antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevanam. Okay, at the time of that I have to remember Krishna. Let me remember at the time of that. People generally say that at the time of that now. Okay, let me enjoy now. Let me enjoy my senses, and at the time of that I'll remember Krishna. But it's not going to happen unless and until we make it a habit to practice throughout our life. So that's why how to live is very important. So that's why Parikshit Maharaj is asking how to live. First question. What should he do? What should he chant? What should he remember? All those things. Then he says, that, so basically he says, so you are such a powerful sage that you don't even waste your time in visiting a householder's house for a long time. So now you have come here. So please let me know what should one do throughout his life, and what should one do when he is about to die. So with this, actually, this chapter ends. Last, Sutta Maharshi says that, thus king asked such wonderful questions to Sukha Maharshi, and Sukha Maharshi is going to reply these questions in the subsequent chapter. Basically, these are the two questions which is answered in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. What should a person do at in his lifetime, and what should he do at the time of death? These are the two questions, and this question's answer constitutes the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. So basically, Parikshit Maharaj, being so fortunate that he got association of such wonderful pure devotee of the Lord. Why pure devotees? Because it is mentioned that Satam Prasangat Mamavirya Samvido Bhavanti Hitkarna Rasayana Kata Tajjoshanada Swapavarga Vartmani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktim Anukramishati. So when we associate with the pure devotees of the Lord and discuss about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because when two devotees of the Lord come together, they won't speak anything nonsense. Their interest is only to speak about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when they come together, they continuously speak about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is like nectar to their ears. And what happens by this? Continuously hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, slowly they develop Shraddha, Ratir, Bhaktir, Anukramashati. They develop faith, they develop attraction, and ultimately they develop pure devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anukramashati, it follows in sequence. It's not that one directly jumps to Bhakti. That's why Satam Kripa. Shushusho Saddadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtani Sevanat. So basically, all bhakti, it is not that Shraddha, faith is the ultimate factor. Faith for developing Shraddha also, we require the mercy of the Supreme, mercy of the great devotees of the Lord. So that's why it is mentioned that in the second chapter of this canto, it was mentioned that Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says that anyone who takes the path of bhakti, the process that flows is for Satam Kripa. Without the mercy of devotee, one cannot get the bhakti of the Lord. So Satam Kripa, then Mahat Seva. Once we get the mercy of the Lord, mercy of the devotees, then what happens? Then we become grateful and we try to do some service. By doing that service, then Shraddha develops. Without that, it is not possible to develop Shraddha. So as I said, Shraddha means that faith. Somebody may not have faith in Krishna. Somebody may not have faith in the Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita or whatever. But what happens? They develop faith. Suddenly one day one finds they develop faith or in this Shastras and Krishna. That means they have actually passed through the above two stages. And what is the stage? First stage is Satam Kripa, and then second stage is Mahat Seva. They have done some service to that devotee or some service to the devotees of the Lord. So Satam Kripa, Mahat Seva, then Shraddha, then comes Sadhu Sangha and all those things. Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, all this. So that's why Satam Kripa is now in this case of Parishit Maharaj. Parishit Maharaj was already a pure devotee of the Lord. So naturally, he was getting the mercy of Supreme Lord through his representative. So it is mentioned that when we love those who love God, so when we love those who love God, God reveals his love to us. So it is Radhanath Maharaj who says in one of his lectures that when we love God, when we love those who love God, God reveals his love to us. And how does he reveal that love? And that he reveals his love by sending his devotees to us. So that whatever love we have for Supreme Lord, that can be transferred to these devotees. Right? Generally in this material world, we want to show some affection. Okay, so we want to reciprocate. Like why generally people in this world are impersonal rather than being personal? Because most of they think that, okay, how can this stone interact with me? How can this stone reciprocate with me? That's what their mentality. That's why they say this, I don't believe in the statue or stone or all these things. Because they don't see any reciprocation. Because they have not received Satam Kripa. They have not received the blessings of the Lord. So if we develop some attraction for the Lord, what Lord does is, he sends his devotees. And when the devotees come, so we can reciprocate, we can show our affection, show our love. All the 6 exchanges can happen. Even with Lord, it can happen. But the thing is, we are not so mature enough, we are not so advanced enough to see that reciprocation happening. That's why Lord sends, Krishna sends us these devotees so that we can have that 6 loving exchanges and develop our bhakti. So this is what Krishna's mercy towards the devotees. And it is also mentioned that by association of devotees only, we can actually cross this yenanjaso ulbana vyasanam uru vyasanam bhavabdim. Yenanjaso ulbana uru vyasanam bhavabdim. That means what? It is basically this bhavabdi, this material world is such a nasty place. It's very difficult, it's very dangerous, and it's very difficult to overcome. But how it is possible to overcome? Only by the association of devotees. When we associate with devotees and start discussing Krishna Katha continuously, we develop some faith. We may right now, we may not be able to develop the taste for hearing and chanting like Parashut Maharaj is having. Gayata Vishnu Gata, I want to hear 24 hours. We may not have developed. At least we can slowly start hearing Krishna Katha, by which right now we may have the capacity to hear for 1 hour. Slowly we may develop it, increase it to 1 to 2 hours, 3 hours. And gradually when we develop this, a time will come when we will be able to develop a taste like Parishit Maharaj. 24 hours we would like to hear Krishna Katha. 24 hours we would like to chant Krishna's holy name. Like Rupa Goswami says, Tunde Tanda Vitim Ratim Vitunutim Tunda Vali Lubdaye Karna Krodha Kadambini Karna Mrude Matspraha. So he is saying that this one tongue is not sufficient for chanting the holy names of Krishna. I want millions of tongues. These 2 years are not sufficient to hear the glories of the Lord. I want millions of years to hear the glories of the Lord. So like that, these pure devotees have developed so much state. So it is just like a magnet. So if we associate with such devotees, then automatically those qualities will come to us. So Parikshit Maharaj, knowing this all these factors, he's saying that I am so fortunate that I'm getting to such association of devotees. I am getting to associate with such a great devotee like Sukha Maharshi and all other sages who are present here. So importance, so the association is so much important that whenever we come in the association of devotees, instead of talking any prajalpa, any nonsense thing, we should start conversing about Krishna. So I remember when I was in Seattle, one devotee was there, Sarva Prabhu. So this Sarva Prabhu, whenever I used to meet him, so we used to meet during the weekends, and weekends we used to do some service in the temple. So whenever I used to do some service with him, he will speak about Prabhupada. Different stories, pastimes he would speak. He would say, oh, Prabhupada said this, Prabhupada said that. Prabhupada, when cutting vegetables, he would say this. Washing pots, he would say this. And he was so much absorbed in Prabhupada's Leelamrit, Prabhupada Katha, that he would constantly tell me about Prabhupada. And the effect of his association was so much that I developed so much love for Prabhupada. Now, sometimes I used to dream about Prabhupada in my sleep. I never read Prabhupada Leelamrit at that time. But just by constantly hearing about Prabhupada from him, I had developed such. So similarly, when we associate with devotees who have love for Krishna and his devotees, so they don't have any other business but just to talk about Krishna. So they will talk about Krishna, and by that association, somehow or other we will also will become attracted or attached to Krishna. So this material world being such a dangerous hell, actually. So the deep attachment in this material world, Andakupam, Griham Prahlad Maharaj says. So this is such a deep, dark well, which is covered by green grass. So we fell in this, that's it. We are stuck there. So he says that to get out of this dangerous material world, there is only one option. There is only one solution, that is to associate with devotees. So association of devotees is the only way that will help us to come out of this material world. So our intensity, so Paramatma is sitting within us and he knows our intensity, our sincerity. And seeing that intensity and sincerity, he will send the devotees to us, and by which our bhakti will start progressing. We can start performing bhakti and attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Parikshit Maharaj, he was already a Vishnu Rat. He was a great devotee of the Lord. He actually he doesn't need. He was already a great devotee of the Lord, and he doesn't need to perform any ritualistic activities and all those things. Even though he was cursed to death, he took shelter of the Supreme Lord. And by seeing his sincerity of approach, Krishna reciprocated by sending Sukha Maharshi and all the great sages to help him, prepare him for this ultimate examination, that is death. So he has asked a wonderful question, that what one should do during his lifetime and what one should do, especially when someone is about to die. So this will come only when we practice throughout our life. This practice of bhakti throughout our life will help us to prepare us for the ultimate examination. Just as one cannot write examination just by sitting in the examination hall without preparing. So he has to prepare himself for entire 1 year. Only then he can go and write the examination, final examination, and pass that examination. Similarly, this entire life is given to us to prepare for this ultimate examination, that is death. So how we live our life in this 100 years or 75, whatever, so that will ultimately prepare the consciousness for that death. So this is the great qualities of Parikshit Maharaj, and the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the great devotees, that he's been given the opportunity to hear about the Supreme Lord at his last moments. So we can also pray that we also prepare ourselves throughout our life, so that we hear about Krishna, think about Krishna, speak about Krishna, and ultimately at the end of life, we become so fortunate that Krishna sends us devotees who will speak about, and we know about the Stoka Krishna Prabhu in Chowpati, who are a very simple devotee, but at the fag end of his life, Maharaj personally, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj personally took care of him, and he prepared him to leave this world. And he was so blissful and happy, and with that blissful nature, blissful smilingly, he left this material world. So similarly, we can also pray that by Krishna's mercy, we are so fortunate that we are able to read Srimad Bhagavatam, read Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and associate with devotees, have Krishna Prasad. So this fortunate, so we may have a lot of things to complain, but these complaints are like like nothing. It's like very less. These problems of this material world are like a small amount to pay for the big thing that we have got, that is Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhakti, Krishna consciousness. So by mercy of Prabhupada and all our previous acharyas, that we have got this bhakti. So let us take this seriously and sincerely, and pray that we can, without any motivation, and consistently perform this bhakti whatever time left with us, so that ultimately we can also prepare our consciousness to remember Krishna and live like Bhishma, Parikshit Maharaj. So many great examples we have in this Bhagavatam, and make our life successful. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sri Gaura Charan Prabhu. That was wonderful nectar, showering the mercy. Like you talked so much about the mercy of devotees, association of devotees. I could completely feel that coming from you, and just associating with you, we were able to feel the love of Krishna in the last 1 hour or so. So thank you, Prabhu, for taking the time. First of all, I know how busy your schedule is. Thank you for taking the time. I'll just quickly summarize some nice points that you made, Prabhu. So the first thing is, so the 3 things that are most important for us as aspiring devotees is complete attachment to the unlimited Krishna, association of devotees, and friendly relationship with all living beings. And so you stressed on the last point, friendly relationship with all living entities. And then you gave this example of 2 devotees at GEV who had a difference of opinion. And then there you mentioned that even if one person has negative feelings in this world, then we will have to come back to this world again. That means we must have friendly relationships with everybody. And then you touched upon this point about how Narad Muni, Krishna was performing all ritualistic activities, and then you quoted the Yadyada Chariti Shreshtas. So that verse, that Krishna was performing all these ritualistic activities because he wanted us to learn from that and do the right thing. And then you mentioned about the invisible link between demigods, us, and the Lord. And how later on you mentioned that Shringi's curse actually became a blessing. And the two painful things in this world are separation from one's beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. Srila Prabhupada's purport, I really like that point. And then as devotees, even if you just put tilak and kanti mala, if somebody sees that and appreciates that, then they get agyata sukriti. And after that is when you started talking a lot about the mercy of devotees. And without the mercy of devotees, we cannot even start our bhakti. What about continuously practicing bhakti? And what about leaving our world, leaving this world without the association of devotees? And but as devotees, our goal should not be to make devotees by numbers, but we should have the mood of showing mercy to fallen conditioned souls. And Parikshit Maharaj basically has two questions: how to live, which is our immediate duty, and how to leave, which is the ultimate duty. And I like this metaphor that you gave about how Parikshit Maharaj and all these pure devotees are like interviewers. They interview the Lord, they interview the pure devotees, so that we, common people, can benefit from that. And the next point is how even Sukadeva Goswami was addressed as Bhagavan, because if someone follows the instruction of Bhagavan, then that person becomes as powerful as the Supreme Lord. And I like this example of Dadachi Maharishi that you mentioned. And I'm always very inspired by the story, because how easily he gave up his body without even a slight bit of hesitation, as soon as he came to know that Lord Vishnu had told Indra to get his bones in order to kill Vitrasura. And then you ended by quoting Maharaj, where you said, when we love those who love God, God reveals his love. So all that we have to do is somehow develop that love towards those who love God. And then the Lord reciprocates by sending us his pure devotees, sending us Guru, so that we can experience the love with that with Krishna through that devotee. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for taking the time. And if anybody has any questions, I think now is a good time to take this opportunity. We can ask Prabhuji any question about this class or anything in general.
Thank you, Gaur Kumar Prabhu, for giving wonderful opportunity.
Okay. Vinay Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam, Gaur Charan Prabhu, and thank you so much for today's class. Like, I mean, last week I was expecting to see you soon, and then you just came this week also. So thank you so much, Prabhu. So many vital points that Gaur Kumar Prabhu already nicely summarized. The statement that he just said: when we love those who love God, God sends His love to us, and then Mahat Seva and Satam Kripa. These 2 points that you insisted and explained in very detail, that how these two things only can bring bhakti in our life and some progress in spiritual life, and there is no other way. Uh, Amazing points, Prabhu. I really like all the details you mentioned. You also shared example of Stoka Krishna Prabhu. It's very touching when I heard this story, that how Maharaj have this so personal relationship with these some devotees, and how they left this body. Like it's like seeing, it's like similar to example of Parikshit Maharaj, and then Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj as well. Like in his last days, like Maharaj Radhanath Maharaj was with him, and how he blissfully he left his body, even though he was in extreme pain. Like as I heard, like in some lectures, that he was in extreme pain. Like even doctors were saying that the pain Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj is going through is unimaginable, but still he was like engrossed in Krishna Katha. So Prabhu, I have one small question around this. Like, how can we develop this love towards like when we don't have like close proximity with our um, like when we don't have close proximity with these great devotees, like from whichever like senior devotees I was close to them for some time, it helped me develop like love and respect for them. But uh, especially in case of like Maharaj, like your Guru Maharaj, which may not be possible for let him to be closer to you. So how we can develop that love?
So Maharaj himself says many times that he has given all the instructions. Even Prabhupada says everything is in his books. So whatever paraphernalia, see Krishna's paraphernalia are nothing impersonal, right? Whatever paraphernalia Krishna has, like Sudarshan Chakra, we may think it's a weapon, but it's a personality in the spiritual world. When you take Sharanga Bhav, it's again a personality. Everything, even a stone is a personality in the material, spiritual world. They also reciprocate in a Shantaras. So everything is spiritual in the spiritual world. So similarly, and all these things are non-different from the Lord, because they are Lord's paraphernalia. Similarly, when a pure devotee of the Lord, he is also non-different. When whatever paraphernalia is attached to the Supreme Lord is also non-different from himself. It's also spiritual. So basically, when Maharaj speaks, even Maharaj's representative, spiritual master's representative, they are also paraphernalia. So that means they are also, as so when the Sakshat Dharitvina Samasta Shastra on a broader level, on a macro level, it is like Guru and Krishna. But when you take in terms of your spiritual life, where you don't have that much relationship with the Guru, so Guru has selected a representative to take care of you in your particular center or wherever. So that particular representative is actually as good as Krishna. So we may not, and they see personalities have different kinds of opinions and different approaches. So we may think that okay, this person is not representing perfectly. But you know what we have heard from Maharaj also in his life, he had also so much difficulties in dealing with his seniors or superiors or representatives of Prabhupada. But what happened? He said, I tolerated. I continued to follow the instructions. And by that, I got the power. And by that, I got my bhakti actually developed. So similarly, the circumstances may not be favorable, or the association may not be, you may think that this association is not good. That's our perspective. If we have to change the perspective. Our mind is actually creating a lot of problems. So we think that this person should change, that person should change. But the only person that you can change in this material world is yourself. We have to think that let me change my perspective, let me change the way I see, let me change the things I see, hear and speak and do. So when we change ourselves, we see it in a different perspective. And that's the perspective of Krishna. And that's the perspective of the Lord. So Krishna wants us, he has put in certain situation. That means he wants us to get, why we come to this material world? For two things, purification and punishment. Punishment because we have turned away from Krishna, and purification because whatever anarthas are there, that needs to be purified slowly and gradually. So that's why whatever situation we are in, that's a purification process that's going on. It's like, we hear a famous example of potato peeler machine. In a potato peeler machine, and you put a lot of potatoes inside it. So you start the machine, it starts, rotating. And then if some potato thinks that, oh, this is so difficult to stay inside this potato is pushing me from this side, that potato is pushing me from downside. So let me get out of this. So that potato comes out, and what happens? That the potato is not peeled. And that may not be used for the service of Krishna, that may not be cut, or that may not be used for sabji making. But if the potato stays inside the machine, what happens? The potato is completely peeled off, and that will be used for cutting and using the service of the Lord. So similarly, when we stay in the association, there may be a problem because we are all come with different anarthas and different emotional backgrounds. But we continue to follow the instruction of Guru, because that instruction is not different from Krishna. And we have always have Srimad Bhagavatam with us, where Prabhupada is directly giving us the instructions, Prabhupada books. So those books, Guru Maharaj instruction, his lectures, that should always keep us going in whatever circumstances we are. So we should keep on practicing the bhakti because Krishna knows what is best for us. We should wait for the best and we should do the best.
That really helps, Prabhu. Thank you so much. I mean, you answered my question plus some other doubts which I directly didn't mention in the question as well. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
I was just listening to a class where Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was saying, do what you can, Krishna will do what you can't. So we must do what we can to the best of our ability, and Krishna will do what we can't. So, so anyone else would like to ask anything? Also, one thing before we end, I think Vinay Prabhu, so I just wanted to announce that Vinay Prabhu is getting initiated next week. So he requested me to request all of you to pray for him. On Balram Purnima, he's getting initiated by Radhanath Maharaj. So we are really, really happy that he's actually the first member in Silicon Valley, Prabhuji, in California. In California. So, we will all sincerely pray, and hopefully we'll be able to see live, Prabhu. Next, do you know the time, Prabhuji? Vinay Prabhu?
Not yet, Prabhu, not yet. I will share on our life of
yes.
once I get.
So Vinay Prabhu is the first member in our group to get initiated. So let's all loudly chant 3 times Hari Bol and pray for him. Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. This is devotee's mercy in action, actually. When I heard about this, I was just remembering Gaur Kumar Prabhu, Yugal Kishore Prabhu, Shamanand Prabhu, and some mentors back in India, how all they have been merciful to me, and now I'm something like this is going to happen. So again, it's just devotees like Prabhu, yeah. It's nothing from my end. Just this desire of Gaur Kumar Prabhu somewhere that prayed for me, and so thank you so much, Prabhu, yeah. Now please, I need all of your prayers so that I can get strength to keep following and keep clinging to lotus feet of Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Would you like to say anything, Prabhuji? Shri Gauracharan Prabhu or Vinay Prabhu?
I would like to pray that let his spiritual life blossom very nicely, and the Bhakti Lata creeper just grow and attain the lotus feet of Lord Krishna.
So much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
What a wonderful prayer and wonderful blessing. Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else would like to say anything or ask anything? Okay, if there are no more questions, I really want to thank Shri Gauracharan Prabhu for taking the time again, for being with us. And Prabhu, we'll really invite you again. It was a real nectar, actually, last 2 weeks. So please don't leave us, and please continue to shower your mercy, and please visit us again. So thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you for engaging me, Prabhu, and I also pray that whatever Gaur Kumar Prabhu has given to me in my initial days, let me try to reciprocate in some way through this service. Hare Krishna.
I tried my best to take you away from Krishna, but wonderful devotees like Sarva Prabhu, Sundaranand Prabhu, they all encourage you to go closer to Krishna. But I want to mention that Sarva Prabhu is Satyasar Prabhu now. He's initiated, he's Satyasar Prabhu, and he's living in Austin. He's almost like a temple president in one of the centers in Austin right now. So he's doing really, really well. So thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki
Thank you, Prabhu.
Jai.
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 Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. So, devotees, if you can just stay for a couple of minutes, I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. So first thing is, I'll stop the recording.